What is up, Harvest Youth? My name is Nathan, and this is my story. So, growing up, I knew a lot about the Bible. I knew about what a Christian was and what it looked like they do on a normal Sunday. I knew that they read their Bible. I knew that they prayed. I knew that we worshiped. And I even knew a lot of the Christian stories like Jonah, Samson, all that. But the truth is, deep inside, I never really understood why we do it. I never understood why do we pray, why do we worship, why do we do all these things that a Christian should do. And so as I grew up through elementary, middle school, and high school, I just went to church always. My parents said to go to church with them because I had no choice, and they just wanted me to go. And so I was forced to. And so when I started going to middle school was when I faced a lot of problems, and that was when actually a friend of mine introduced me to porn. He even showed me a lot of things that, are pretty bad, and I began to just be so overwhelmed with that. And on top of that, things at home were not easy. My relationship with my parents was incredibly bad, and I felt sad a lot of times. I felt alone. I felt as if I don't belong anywhere, and that I was just the weird kid that didn't fit in. And so going through high school with these problems, I just began to sink really deep into a hole that really to me looked like there was no way out. And honestly, at that time, I was still going to church, and there came a point to where I just stopped going completely after that. I fell into just this dark spot where honestly, I thought there was no hope for me. I thought my life had no meaning, and I thought that everything was pointless. But there came a moment where I came back to church for some reason. And thinking about it now, I think it was just by the grace of God that my mom, for a random moment, just said, let's go to church. And funny enough, we went to a high school night on a Wednesday, and that was when I became reintroduced to Christianity. I became reintroduced to God and Jesus and what it was all about. And honestly, a few weeks after going, I committed my life to the Lord. But I want to say that after that, it was a lot easy. I would want to say that after I gave my life to Jesus, that things were all butterfly and rainbows. But honestly, as I began to do these things that I was learning more about, I began to pray. But in reality, I prayed because I thought it was good. I thought a good Christian should pray. I thought a good Christian should read his Bible more. I thought a good Christian should serve in the church and do all these things for God. And if I could tell you all these things I did for God, then that would make me a good person. That would make me enough to go to heaven. But you see, that wasn't what the gospel was. And so just through coming to church, through the hardships of life, I learned the gospel. And even Romans 5:8, it says, Christ died at the right time, that while we were yet sinners, he laid down his life for us, and that I am saved by grace, not through the things I do. I'm not a Christian because I could tell you all the good things I've done for God, or how much I pray, or how much I know about the Christianese, but I'm saved merely because I believe in God. And to the degree that I began to understand this, I began to realize that there was nothing I could do to earn God's love. There was nothing I could do to become a better person apart from the good work that God had done for me through Jesus. And honestly, this broke my mind. How could a God so great lay down his life for someone like me who was so broken and so lost? And as I began to just focus on the cross and focus on the love of God and focus on Jesus and what he did and what that meant for me, I realized that, my addiction, my worries, my depression, my sadness, and my fear of not belonging anywhere was only as big as my God was. And the more that I surrendered to God all these things that weighed me down, I began to sense this freedom like no other. You see, when I gave God my everything and said, I'm not going to hold on to it anymore, I'm not going to admit and lie to myself that I can't do this on my own, and began to believe all these things that God said about me through his word, and what he said about me through the gospel, was when my life began to just shine and began to change for the better. And honestly, after learning and after growing so much, I began to realize that the more I draw closer to God was the more I need him. And so I began to want to love the Lord. I wanted to serve more, not because there was this thing that I needed to gain, but rather because God gave me everything, I can now give him everything back. He gave me new life. He gave me new meaning. He gave me new purpose. And that was only through what Jesus has done for me. I love you guys. I honestly just love my entire youth family from OC to Riverside. And if you guys ever see me, if you guys just want to stop by, say hi, I would love to meet you. I would love to pray for you. I'd love to hear your story, because honestly, youth has just a very special place in my heart. And so I just love every single one of you. My name is Nathan, and thanks for listening to my story.